I am Charles D. Kennedy, otherwise known as Chuck professionally, known as Chucky by my close family and friends, and known as Coach K by the folks that I coach. We have a relatively large family by today's standards. 6 kids, ages 36 to 14, 3 girls and 3 boys. The one of the six, the middle son, Christian, who is 22, is probably, if I had to say, the one who's the most, not the most, but is very, very special. And by what might appear to be standard that most of us use for what could be considered special, you would not consider that, because he doesn't walk, he doesn't talk, he really can't take care of himself, and he communicates receptively, and he communicates, if you will, spiritually. And in our family, Christian has been the backbone, and Christian has been the spiritual teacher for all of us, and we all have a lot to thank him for. When he was born a completely healthy kid. And at the time, so when he was probably around 6 months old, he would have these vomiting issues, and we couldn't figure out why he would have these vomiting issues, which resulted in bile. When you're throwing up bile, that's very, very serious. And one of these vomiting issues was catastrophic. And he basically went into a coma, and we almost lost him. So mercifully, we waited 7 days. And in the interim, he started getting better. And the epiphany for me personally came when a woman who was in Bay 3, her son got hit by a car and got thrown 20 feet in the air and landed on his head. And he was in a coma as well. And this woman was very unsophisticated by most standards. And they wanted her to sign an organ donor card. And she goes, "Have you lost your mind?" She said, and she wasn't very quiet about it. She said, "You all don't believe, but I do. My son is going to wake up. My son's going to wake up and we're going to walk out of here. You don't believe it, but I do. So take your little forms." And then we're like, wow, this woman is like, and this woman is not in reality. But the next day, that boy woke up. Lori and I were able to reconcile all of this because we said to ourselves that, yes, it shouldn't have happened, but it did happen. And if we accept the miracle that he was able to live, then we have to accept what happened before that. You can't uncouple the two things. You know what I mean? There's no, There's no A, and, A is B and B is A. You can't have this without that. And this is how me personally I've learned is patience. It's just like, and long term, and every day. You know what I mean? That stuff matters. And then when you add those elements together, you get a body of work. It's not these moments in time where you're brilliant, because we all have those moments, but how are you every day? It's every day that matters. You win the day, you win your life. And Christian has helped us because his needs are every day. We're not planning 10 years from now when he goes to college. And Christian doesn't care if the outfit is red or Reebok or Gucci or anything else. It doesn't matter. And you know what? It doesn't matter. He doesn't care if, the balloon is this or that. He's not going to complain because you've forgotten about him. He doesn't complain. You know what I mean? He accepts what is. And that is so spiritually strong, accepting what is. And he does it very naturally. We have to learn to do that because, wait a minute, that's not fair. This is wrong. It's raining. I got slighted. This one was mean to me. And so you learn that. And you learn with him that sometimes, you're tired and you're cranky and, you don't feel like it. But he doesn't punish you for that. You know what I mean? He doesn't say, you know what, this is what the hell is this? This is meager. That's not a good effort. There's no critique. There's no judgment. Can you imagine a life without judgment? Life without judgment is is very refreshing. It's incredibly refreshing. And Christian has no judgment. I mean, he has no judgment, none. And the only discerning thing is, even the balloons, he loves balloons, his favorite thing, simple. And he doesn't care if it's red or blue or Mickey Mouse or Minnie Mouse or what, it doesn't matter. There's no judgment. It's all about that experience in the moment. And that has served him well, and we're still learning as we go, because as he changes, we change. As he evolves, we evolve. And he's not the focal point, but he's a focal point that has a lot of meaning for all of us in ways that when I'm a little older, I can reflect upon that and say, wow, you know what, I get that now. That makes sense to me, That makes a lot of sense to me. And it's much bigger than my own selfish needs and my own feelings and my own, sense of purpose and my own ego. It's much bigger than that, It just is. And we can exist without having to basically try to, what's the best way to say this, trying to be the focal point of existing, because we're not. We're just, at the end of the day, we're just a speck, a drop of water in the ocean. There's a great Buddhist saying that says, everybody knows that the drop merges into the ocean, but few know that the ocean merges into the drop. And that's, I love that, and it reminds me of Christian to a very large extent, because he so fits in. He fits in, and we don't realize, we think that he's fitting into our lifestyle, when in essence, we are fitting into his lifestyle. And, he'll sit there at the lacrosse games, because we're talking about here, and you never see him like saying, wait a minute, I'm by myself, I'm burning up, no one's paying any attention to me, none of that. He's just observing and enjoying the best he can. And it's easy to forget. It's easy to ignore, and very hard to ignore at the same breath. So, for me personally, no matter how tired I am, no matter how bad a day I'm having, it's just, I know that it could be a hell of a lot worse. And I owe it to him to give him my best, and my best, again, is on a continuum.